Good morning and welcome to Live Oak Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm Reverend Joanna and my pronouns are she, her. Welcome to this intentional, intergenerational village where we share our lives and we work together to become the people we've always wanted to be and to move a little bit closer to making the world the one that we want to live in. Whoever you are, whoever you love, wherever you are on life's journey, whatever it is that you believe, all who are welcoming are welcome here. This is our second Sunday of Advent, and as Unitarian Universalists, Advent asks, what are we waiting for and preparing for in our own lives and in the life of this world? In this season of long nights, Advent invites us to explore the themes of hope, faith, joy, and love. On this second Sunday of Advent, we light a candle for faith. As Unitarian Universalist Theodore Parker wrote, "I do not pretend to understand the moral universe. The arc is a long one. My eye reaches but little ways. I cannot calculate the curve and complete the figure by experience of sight. I can divine it by conscience. And from what I see, I am sure that it bends toward justice. What is it that you hold on to with faith? May the light of this candle help us to make real what we put faith in." It is so good to be together this morning. Please rise, either in body or in spirit. We're going to be singing Light One Candle, and then please remain standing for our chalice lighting and the sung response. Light one candle for the pain they endured when their right to exist was denied. Light one candle for the terrible sacrifice justice and freedom can earn. And light one candle for the wisdom to know when the peacemaker's time is at hand. Don't let the light go out. It's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out. Let it shine
Today, our chalice is being lit by Logan. Here we go. We face a challenge to democracy, a challenge that calls us to hope in moments of despair, a challenge that asks us to persist in the faith that we can and must make a difference. May our flaming chalice recommit us to truth in our words and our actions, that we may live as we believe people should live. Please join me in our sung response. Break not the circle of enabling love, where people go forgiven and forgiving. Break not the circle, make it wider still, till it includes and embraces all. Hello, and welcome to this House of Hope. My name is Mark Anderson, and my pronouns are he and him. I love Live Oak for giving me this God-optional spiritual community after I left Christianity 10 years ago. And it's my pleasure to find ways to be an active member of this community. We offer a special welcome to those of you who are visiting us for the first time. If you haven't already, please stop by the table in our Welcome Center and get a goodie bag. Let us get you signed up for our weekly email bulletin and answer any questions you may have. And after the service, please stick around, have a cup of coffee. We'd love to get to know you. This community has events happening all throughout the week. I encourage you to go to our website at liveoakuu.org and click on what's happening every Sunday and fill out your schedule for the week to come. Something you might be interested in this week is our Selfies from Santa. That'll be next Saturday from 10 to 2. We invite our youngsters and our young at heart to come out and take a photo with Santa Claus, enjoy some fresh-baked cookies, and check out our silent auction.
Generosity is one of our Unitarian Universalist values, and one way that we practice this is by sharing our offering with an organization that upholds our vision of creating beloved community. This month's recipient is the Lago Vista ISD Education Foundation, and here to tell us more are Linda McCullough and Darren Webb.
Good morning. I'm Linda McCullough, and this is our superintendent, Darren Webb. I'm here today not just as a member, but also as president of the Lago Vista Independent School District Education Foundation. I want you to know that we're not governed by the school board, but we do work with them as needed. We're a nonprofit organization whose sole purpose is to provide our educators with resources that improve the educational experiences for all the students in our district. We have no paid staff, so all of our funds are dedicated to our students. Our teachers write grant requests every spring, starting this coming January. These requests are reviewed for appropriateness first by the principal at their school, who then passes the approved requests onto our superintendent for further review, and those that are approved are passed on to us for final review. I've been working with the foundation for about 8 years, and in that time we've awarded over $100,000 in grants, all of which we raised ourselves, and we are small. We have 15 people on this committee in a small community with no big businesses to turn to locally. We funded grants in each of our schools every year in areas like special ed, gifted and talented, math, science, physical education, music, culinary arts, and we used to fund the PSATs too. We don't now. And we do this in each of our 4 schools. And we have also funded educational programs and equipment that the school district hasn't been able to fund. These things are getting even harder as we are all aware of the given current state of public school financing in this state. I'm grateful that we were accepted as the recipients for December, and I'd like to introduce our superintendent, Mr. Darren Webb, who will give his take on our work.
I first want to thank you for allowing myself to come up and speak just for a minute or two about our education foundation there at Lago Vista. I've been part of the foundation for over 11 years and had the honor to work alongside Linda for the last 8 or 9 years. Linda's a huge supporter not only of the foundation but also for our school district and community. And so I just want to thank Linda for her dedication over the last 8 years for sure. As Linda mentioned, as you know, you're probably aware, districts across the state are in need of extra funding to keep programs, to keep staff from being cut, and supply budgets to make sure that these budgets are funded properly. This is where the education foundations of many school districts come into play. They're vital in providing district needs over the years. As Linda spoke earlier, the Education Foundation at Lago Vista has provided well over $100,000 to our teachers and to our students. The foundation is a small group, but they're a very dedicated group. Some of these members have been there for 8 to 10 years. We are a small group, and so some of the things that Linda mentioned just a few seconds ago, some of the things that the Lago Vista Foundation has paid for. We have paid for PSAT tests for certain grade levels, for every kid in that grade level to take those tests. They've provided microscopes for the science labs, a lot of science kits, art supplies over the years. They've also purchased a sound system for our dance team that just started about 3 or 4 years ago. Purchased large band instruments. If you're a musician, a lot of the band instruments are very expensive, so they've helped provide those for our band programs, and as well as providing many other teaching supplies over the years. And so it's very important that our foundation helps supplement our needs as a district. And so I just want to thank you for allowing me to speak to you just for a couple of minutes about the foundation. So thank you.
Thank you, Darren and Linda. Every week in our church, we take up an offering. It's good to remind ourselves from time to time that the offering is symbolic as well as practical. We know that it is through pledges that we build up our budget, fund our yearly programs and ministries of worship and religious education, pay our staff and professional religious leaders, and finance the comfort and beauty of our buildings. And we know that we could easily submit those pledge checks to the church at any convenient time. But we pass the plate during our worship service to make a community expression of thanks for the blessing of abundance, to visibly bring in the harvest at this most cherished hour of the week. Our offering says that the act of giving is as essential to our spiritual well-being as anything else we do here on Sunday morning. The morning offering will now be taken in the spirit of grateful fellowship.
I am Chris Jarman, your Director of Lifespan Faith Development, and I'd like to invite anybody of any age, if they'd like to come down to join us for our story, as we have the story, Ordinary Mary's Extraordinary Deed by Emily Pearson. Are you ready? Ordinary Mary was so very ordinary that you'd never guess that she would change the world. This ordinary kid, she did. She changed the world. One ordinary day, skipping on her way from her ordinary school to her ordinary house, she passed an ordinary vacant lot filled with ordinary bushes growing ordinary berries, ordinary blue and juicy, luscious, lovely berries. Well, Ordinary Mary picked ordinary berries and brought them in a big brown bowl to Mrs. Bishop's porch. What? Left berries in a big brown bowl on Mrs. Bishop's porch? That sneaky kid, she did. This made Mrs. Bishop very, very happy, so she baked a big batch of blueberry muffins and thought of 5 people who might have brought those beautiful berries and then secretly gave each a plate. How great! 5 people got a plate. One of those 5 was her paper boy, Billy Parker, and when Billy saw his name on a note in the driveway on a plate, he quickly parked his bike and ate every crumb. Oh, yum, 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 he ate every crumb. This made him so glad that the next 5 people got their papers on the porch and not in the bushes where he often threw them. In fact, they were handed right to them. One of those 5 was Mr. Morey, who was amazed that he smiled for 10 hours on the airplane. Then he said to 5 different people who had heavy bags, "Here, let me help you." He still smiled, and they did too. One of those 5 was Mario, whose cranky little boy, James, stopped crying when Mr. Morey played peekaboo with him until their ride came. When he waved goodbye, Mario exclaimed, "How strange that a stranger would be so kind." And the next day, when he was out shopping, once, twice, 5 times he did something nice for 5 different people. 5 times without stopping. One of the 5 was Joseph, old and bent and gray, in front of him in the line at the produce stand. When he said, "I guess I counted wrong, I don't really need these oranges," little James reached out to him and gave him an orange from their basket. And Mario put a coin in Joseph's hand and said, "Here, take this. The oranges are on us." One of those, as Joseph shuffled to the bus, his heart was full and his eyes were wet and his hands did helpful things for the next 5 people he met. One of those 5 was Sahar, a college girl who was off to see the world, and she stopped at Joseph's shop. When her bag broke and her things fell all over the floor, she said, "Oh, what will I do?" Joseph said, "This is for you." He gave her a new bag woven with his own hands in red and purple and green. "Oh, thank you," she said. "It's the loveliest bag I've ever seen." When Sahar left, she felt sunny as noon, and she had just had time to shine on 5 people soon. One of those 5 people was Sophia, whom she met on a boat, looking like the world might end, looking like someone without a friend. "What beautiful blue eyes you have," Sahar said, "and they're just the color of the flowers in your lovely dress." "Yes?" said Sophia. "Oh, yes," said Sahar. The beautiful blue eye shed a tear, and when the boat trip was through, Sophia called 5 people to make them happy too. One of those 5 was Tom, her son, the doctor, who was having a very hard day. "Hi," she said. "I love you, Tom." "Well, how great to hear your voice," he sighed. "I always need my mom." Dr. Tom was so cheered that on his next break, he bought a big bunch of bright balloons for 5 young patients, and he handed them out right then and there. One of those 5 was Peter, a little boy who went home from the hospital that very day. Gratitude for the big bunch of bright balloons filled him and thrilled him and spilled out of him onto the next 5 people who came his way. One of those 5 people was Eric, a teenage boy whose sacks and such were way too much. When one dropped on the sidewalk, Peter stopped his play and rushed right over, saying, "Super Wills, to the rescue!" Well, Eric, no longer stressed, was very impressed and made a mental note that very afternoon to help 5 people and to do it soon. One of those 5 people was Di, his 10-year-old sister, who didn't have many friends and was painfully shy. When Eric said, "Hey, sis, you want to come to the park and learn how to ride my skateboard?" she looked at him wide-eyed. "Serious?" she said. "Sure," he said. And because of her brother, Di decided maybe she could be a friend to 5 others. One of those 5 others was Louise, a homeless woman who lived under the trees. She could hardly believe her ears when she heard Di say, "May my brother and I buy you a hot dog and a drink from that stand over there?" Could it be true? Could someone actually care? Cared enough to give her food and a smiley-faced ring that was practically new? Louise was so pleased that she decided that even though she had nothing, she would find 5 others and give them something. One of those 5 was Amara, who lost her wallet in the park. Louise found it full of 5s and 10s and 20s. Oh, what she could do with all that money. But she found Amara's name and called her home, and over she came. Amara was so impressed that Louise was honest when money was something she clearly needed, that she offered her a job in her store and vowed to do something generous for 5 people or more. One of those 5 people was Kate, a woman on vacation who wanted to see a show she'd heard was a sensation. "Oh no," she said, "it's sold out, but I'm going home tomorrow," and her face filled with sorrow. Amara held out her ticket. "I live here. I can go any time. Take mine." Kate loved the show and was so touched that she thought buying 5 presents for the 5 people back home would really be fun. One of those 5 presents was a little heart necklace for Mary, her niece, and you should have seen her eyes light up in surprise. Mary? What? Ordinary Mary? Yes, ordinary Mary's deed had come full circle, and on its way it had changed the lives of every person living. You see, when Mrs. Bishop made muffins from Mary's blueberries, not only the paper boy Billy Parker, but the other 4 people too, made 5 people smile. And those 5 did too. And after a while, in only 16 days, love was sent to every person everywhere. Are you ready? Let's see how it did. 1, 5, 25, 125, 625, 3,125, 15,625, 78,125, 390,625, 1,953,125, 9,765,625, 48,828,125, 244,140,625, 1,220,703,125, 6,103,515,625, 30,517,578,125. Well, 30 billion is way more than all the people who live on this planet. So after everyone had to share and everybody knew what somebody cared, there was even love left over. The end.
Please rise for our theme hymn, number 259, We Three Kings of Orient Are. Our reading this morning is Stewards of Hope by Rebecca Savage. I'm delighted by how Spirit moves through our spiritual communities. A few summers ago, a member of our congregation drafted architectural plans for a little free library. The brilliance of the design is that there are doors on two sides of the library. One is for the adults, the other is just for the kids. With the help of many volunteers, including the congregation's youth, 2 little free libraries were built and installed, one near the main entrance and one near a walking trail at the edge of the property. They've been chugging along by themselves. People keep them stocked and utilized. These libraries are a beautiful, self-sustaining phenomenon, a gift to the community. I love this. This is the beauty and sparkle of spiritual communities. We dance together in the gentle unfolding of how we strive to be together. Needs arise, and beloveds appear to ask, "How may I help?" There's no fixed timeline, just the spiritual practices of generosity and stewardship. As a religious leader, I am also a steward of hope. So often, we can slip easily into conversations and endless news cycles that focus on dire calamity, and we feel overwhelmed, crushed, and dispirited. Yes, there is much wrong with our world, and so much has already been lost. The yes and endures, though. We do have time to make changes today. We do have time to practice courageous love today. This is how I serve as a steward of hope, by remembering and reminding others with a wink and a smile that today can be for the good, one breath at a time, one act of love and forgiveness at a time, one act of defiance and change at a time.
(1971), the Dixie Diner in a small town of Houston, Mississippi. A man who was down on his luck, Larry Dean Stewart, walked in. Larry had been working in that town, living in a motel, working for a company that was a couple of cities away. He'd been doing his job, and he didn't understand why his paycheck seemed to be late, but he just kept working away. The company had gone out of business and forgot to tell Larry. By the time he figured out what was going on, the motel manager was evicting him, and Larry was flat broke. Didn't even have gas to put in his car. He went to the Dixie Diner feeling hungry and a little desperate. He ordered breakfast for himself and ate it. And when the bill came, he started doing that, like trying to indicate that he had lost his wallet. But somehow, even before he started doing that, the cook, who was also the owner, had just kind of seen something about him and came over to where he was sitting. And Cookie bent down by him. And when he came back up, he handed him a $20 bill. "You must have dropped this," he said. Feeling guilty but also relieved, Larry paid for his breakfast. And by the way, $20 in 1971, it would be equivalent to about $159.99 today. So he paid for his breakfast. He was able to put gas into his car, and he was able to get back up on his feet, go back home, get another job, and continue on with his life. But he always remembered what had happened there in that diner. He knew that there had not actually been a $20 bill on the ground by him. Now, for Larry, as with most of us, yes, things got better and then they got a little worse, right? Isn't that been your experience? Life doesn't always go like this. Sometimes it goes a little like this. 1979, so 8 years later, he wound up right before Christmas getting laid off. But it wasn't like 1971. He was concerned, but he wasn't flat broke. And he went to a drive-in to get himself a burger. And when the car hop came out, he noticed that she was shivering. And he also saw that she was wearing a threadbare sweater. And he thought to himself, who am I to complain? Look at her, man. Like, she's out here freezing, working for nickels and dimes. And he pulled out a $20 bill. And he handed it to her and he said, "Keep the change." Now this was 1979, but that was still worth about $89. The car hop's eyes filled with tears. And she said, "Mister, you don't know what this means to me." But of course he did, right? He was so touched by her response that he drove immediately to his bank and took out half of his very meager savings. And between that day and Christmas, he passed it all out, one $5 or $10 bill at a time. He knew where to go. He knew where it was that people who needed just a little extra something would be, because that's where he often was, right? Coin-operated laundries and the dime store, bus station. And he remembered what happened to him in the Dixie Diner, that when Cookie handed him that $20 bill, he was also handing him dignity. And so Larry did the same. He would go up to someone and he would say, "You must have dropped this," and hand it to him. After that, his fortunes got much better. He was able to get another job. Within a couple of years, because he continued doing this every December, within a couple of years he was handing out $100 bills. And then in 1996, his fortunes really got better. By that time, he had started a business. Some of you remember when long distance was a big thing, right? And there was, you would sign up for a particular long distance company. And so he had started a business with salespeople who would sell, Sprint long distance. And it was already doing well, but then it came out that Sprint had not been paying all of these contractors fairly. And so there was, it went to the courts, and there was a $90 million payout, of which $5.2 million went to Larry. Now he became a philanthropist. in a very serious way, finding organizations that tried to make life better for people and giving to them. But he also continued every December going out onto the streets where he lived, Kansas City, and handing out $100 bills, always with, "You must have dropped this." He did this for 25 years, every December. Now, you got someone walking around handing out money, and it's been estimated that he gave about $1.2 million, just not through his philanthropy, but just through doing this. You got someone walking around doing this, and people are going to start comparing stories and talking about it. So then reporters would find out about it, and he would allow a reporter to go out with him, but it was with the requirement that they had to do this anonymously, that they had to protect his anonymity. He didn't want any credit for this. He just wanted to be able to go out and just give a little direct joy, a little bit of help. And the reporters, to their credit, protected his anonymity. Around, it was 2001, he took it beyond Kansas City. We know what happened in September 11th of that year. He went to New York City and walked around handing out to those who he felt would be especially sad and struggling at that time of year. 2002, he went to D.C. They had been hit by snipers. Some of you may remember those stories. 2003, it was wildfires that happened in San Diego. In 2004, he went to Florida because Florida that year had been hit by 3 hurricanes. And then 2005, he went back to where it all began, to Mississippi, which not only was where the Dixie Diner had been, but it's also where he had been raised. He had been raised there by his grandparents in a home where they had an outhouse and they had to heat water up on the stove to take a bath, and they subsisted on $33 a month and a little bit of welfare product. So he went to Mississippi because Hurricane Katrina had happened, and it not only hurt Louisiana, it had also really hurt Mississippi. The next year, 2006, he came out. The reason why, if you go looking for stories of him, and I absolutely encourage you to do it, just put in Larry Stewart, Secret Santa, you're going to find a lot of articles. There's one thing that the articles, most of them get wrong. The articles say that the reason why he allowed himself to be revealed was because he had been diagnosed with esophageal cancer. He had been, but in a radio interview he said no, that wasn't it at all. He had found out that a local tabloid was going to out him, was going to reveal his name. And so he got together with his family, and his family said, "Dad, if anyone is going to tell your story, it should be you." So he met with what I assume was a trusted reporter from the Kansas City Star, and there he was able to tell them the full story, including who had inspired him. And they were, by the way, able to do a little research and go back and find the man. His name was Ted Horn, way back there at the Dixie Diner. And so the stories ran first in the Kansas City Star, then of course it got picked up by other newspapers, and then the TV media, CNN and all of that. Everyone very interested to learn about this. And he was hoping that other people would be inspired. And what he would say, and what he said in that interview was, it doesn't have to be about money, but we need more love. We need more kindness out in the world. So help someone carry their groceries to the car or give someone a smile. Now that year, 2006, a friend of his, a wealthy businessman, came to him with $75,000 for him to be able to give out. And Larry said, "I don't think so." He said, "I want you to give it out." As his friend later noted, the next thing he knew, they were walking around the streets of Chicago handing out money. "I think you dropped this." And it was showing Larry that this was someone who would keep this alive. Larry died just a month later, in January of 2007. But his friend kept up the work. That very next year, he was out on the streets, and he shared with a reporter that the previous year, when he had been walking around with Larry, Larry had referred to him as Secret Santa, because that was what all of the reporters had called Larry, Secret Santa. In fact, that may actually, Secret Santa like we do here and all this, it looks like that may have actually originated. That's where the term originated, was with Larry. Anyway, Larry called his friend Secret Santa, and his friend said, "No, there's only one Secret Santa. I'm Elf 32A. And Elf 32A is continuing to do the work. You can find articles about what he did last December, how he travels around, but also he trains other people, because just like we heard in our story, generosity is contagious. One of the other things that both he and Larry would talk about is sometimes it is the people who have the least who are the most generous. So often they will give someone some help only to see that person turn around and immediately help someone else. So they're still doing the work. Elf 32A trains people. There's now hundreds in multiple cities that go out and do this, and he trains them to look for people who look a little sad, look a little exhausted, maybe even look a little desperate. And those are the ones that they go up to say, "You must have dropped this." Generosity is one of the values of Unitarian Universalism, as we talk about whenever we do our offering. And I've been thinking about this year is so hard, right? I don't know, having a hard time this year. A lot of evidence to the contrary, right? One of my favorite poets was Andrea Gibson, who died this year, and she has a line in a poem where she says, "The hardest thing about having nothing is having nothing to give." I want you to have something to give, because it will transform you. Can I have our ushers come forward, please, and bring the offering baskets? Come forward, please. Going over there. Nope, back. Hold on. You need something. Every adult who's here, every person age 14 and over, I want you to take one of these $20 bills. There you go. Go ahead and pass those out, please. There you go. You don't have to do like Larry or like Elf 32A. I want you to simply use this to put some good out in the world. Maybe for you, it is going to be giving it directly to someone. Maybe it is going to be there's an organization that is doing good work and you want to help them with that. If you can leverage it, that's fabulous. Maybe you work for a company that will match your donations, and so you can double it. Super. However it is, it's up to you. There are no rules about this. And yes, this is per adult. Those of you with children younger than 14, I hope that you will involve them in making the decision about what to do. If you are a couple, yes, that means that you can pool your money. If you're a throuple, you can triple your money. And singles, if you have an idea for something and you want to grab a couple more members or 5 members or whatever and say, hey, do y'all want to go in on this with me? You absolutely can do it. There are no rules for this. I do have a request, but it is a request only. As you do this, and I'm hoping we can do this between now and Christmas, as you do it, would you send me an email, minister@liveoakuu.org, and let me know what you did with it. We're going to be sharing that with the congregation, although it will be anonymous. Your name will not be attached to it, just as it is not for ELF 32A, who, by the way, is still operating under anonymity. Everyone get some? And if there's any extra, bring it forward. Okay, choir is not here, so they should be covered there. Okay. If you need a little bit of inspiration, we did something similar, although it was only $10 that time, 9 years ago. Here's a sped up version so you can get some ideas. If you're feeling a little flush, if you just got a bonus at work or something, and if you want to add some of your own money to this $20, you are absolutely welcome to do so, but it is not expected. It is not expected. We're doing something special here today, so, oops. There we go. So, can we go ahead and do something that's kind of unusual for you and actually put a blessing on this money? And whatever it is that makes sense to you, if you put your faith in a God, then you can be thinking of that God. If you put your faith in humanity, you can put your faith there as we do this blessing. And if you are just trying to hold on and figure out what the heck you do have faith for, you can just offer it up to the mystery of the universe. Please join me in a spirit of prayer or reflection or whatever works for you. Spirit of love, which we call by many names or no name. May these $20 bills go out into the world. May they find a home with those who most need a smile, most need to feel like maybe a little bit of luck is coming their way, maybe need to be reminded that yes, humanity can be good and can be generous. In the words of Rebecca Savage, may we perceive the needs that arise around us like a clarion call of love. May we recall with audacious hope the words of Martin Luther, even if I knew that tomorrow the world would go to pieces, I would still plant my apple tree. Amen, and may it be so. Being in a community, we share our lives with each other, including the significant milestones and joys and sorrows that happen to us. And we have some today. Crystal shares, so joyful for all the staff that provided families yesterday with the Jingle Jam. Thankful for our loving community here and lifting up hope for our friend handling new medical news. Curtis shares, super proud of all 200 of my students who performed with our high school feeder on Thursday for our combined winter concert. We danced and sang so well, and he even led a sing-along. Oh boy, talk about generosity. Sage Jimenez shares, I was contacted by the National Marrow Donation Program this past week. I'm a potential match for donating stem cells to someone with leukemia. I'm having more testing done this week to see if I'll be able to help them. Renee Garcia shares, going to the courthouse on Friday to witness the marriage of my oldest son to his high school sweetheart. Mary Hingstebeck shares that it was a sad week. A dear friend died in Michigan, and yesterday was the online funeral for Andy Reese, a dedicated UU. Logan shares, on Saturday we went to the Nutcracker. The Konopkas want to thank everyone who helped them with baby Valerie. Every meal, diaper, article of clothing, etc. has been very appreciated, and we are glad to be back. Sue Buckley shares, this week Tim and I have been members of Live Oak for 18 years. We so appreciate you good folks who helped us adjust to Texas. Chris Jarman says, please send your good energy and prayers to Rosella. She is currently in the ER with fainting and dizziness. And Daria shares, happy and sad to announce that next Sunday is my last Sunday playing piano at Live Oak. I am starting my next chapter in New York City in January. And she concludes with, it has been an honor and a privilege to show up here for the past 6 years. Thank you for listening. May we bear witness with the concerns both expressed and silent in our hearts. Amen and blessed be. I think we're going to skip the sung response so that we can move this along. I hope that you will join us after the service. We do have to sing Deck the Hall after all, because we are going to be decking the halls, and I hope you can join us for our hanging of the greens. In an interview, Elf 32A said, I believe all decisions in life are based on either fear or love, and sometimes we imprison ourselves with fear when we don't do anything. What we do as secret Santas and elves is all about love. There is no fear. So we learn about unconditional love when we do this. I know many of us are having a hard time having faith in humanity. It's probably not just us, right? So why don't we go change that? Here, you must have dropped this.
I invite you to stick around for our hanging of the greens as we decorate our space for the holidays. Please rise and join us in singing Deck the Hall and remain standing for our chalice extinguishing. say these words to each other. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. It has been a gift to be together today. Thank you to today's home team who provided hospitality, worship, and tech leadership. Judy C., Jesse Rose, Colleen B., Cassandra, Don R., and Chris S. Let's continue that hospitality by spending the next 5 minutes talking with someone we don't know. Members, be sure to introduce yourself to any first-time visitors we have, the ones with the paper name tags, and show them where the visitors' table and coffee are. And may we all know the blessings of fellowship.